And there are many tools in the toolkit to get you there. I'm going to focus on one that completely changed my life in 2004.
This is Tim Ferriss, podcaster, entrepreneur, and author of this book, The 4-Hour Workweek. And this is me.
Dude, how did you get in here? Oh my God, get out of here. Jesus.
You see, I recently quit my job with zero backup plan, and I am the happiest that I've been in well over a year, thanks to a single idea from this book right here. And in today's video, I want to tell you what that idea is and how you can use it in your own life. But we'll get to that in just a second. I first want to talk about a topic that many of you can probably unfortunately relate to, which is hating your job.
Watch out! Watch out! Watch out!
I hated my job, like deeply hated my job. I had no energy when I would wake up in the mornings. I dreaded every single task at work. A single call with my boss would rack me with anxiety. Sunday scaries, which are supposed to kick in on Sunday evenings, they were kicking in around lunchtime on Saturday for me. So not only was my entire week filled with dread, but my whole weekend was also consumed by dread. It was a lot of fun. I would constantly think to myself, this just can't be what life is like. There has to be more to life than this. And I kept telling myself that I would stick it out at my job so that I could work there a year, but I just couldn't imagine working there a couple more months, let alone a few more years. The issue was that I had to pay rent. I had bills to pay. I had groceries to buy. I wanted to go out and have fun with my friends. So quitting just simply wasn't in the cards. So I thought. You see, in April of 2023, I actually moved back home with my parents. That's a story for another time, but I thought that this change would actually help alleviate some of that dread that I was feeling. I thought that that change in environment or that removal of financial pressure would make me happier. But spoiler alert, it didn't help at all. No, it actually probably made things worse. I was very unhappy with where things were in my life. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought about quitting my job more than a few times.
Hey, Devin. Hey, boss man, what's up? You scared me there. Yeah. What's going on, man? Oh, nothing much. Definitely not quitting today.
Definitely not what?
Definitely not shitting today. Definitely not shitting today. Took a nice thick steamy one this morning, so should be all good on that front.
That's disgusting. Get out of my office.
Yeah, probably for the best. Yeah.
But every single time that I even considered the idea of quitting, my brain quickly found a way to shut that idea down. However, April 14th, 2023, yes, I remember the date, a wave of clarity washed over me, and I remembered an idea that I read from a book that completely liberated me from the idea that I had to stay at my job. Like I said at the beginning of this video, the idea came from the book, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. And the idea is called fear setting. Fear setting is a way for you to stare your fears directly in their face and realize, oh, they actually aren't so scary after all. I specifically used this framework in the context of a job, but it can be used anywhere in your life. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a creative endeavor, maybe it's a trip you're trying to take. It can be used anywhere. Tim has an amazing TED Talk on this entire subject. I will link it down below if you want to watch the full thing. But for simplicity's sake, this entire idea can be summarized in a single question. You ready for it? Okay, here it is. For any fear that you have in your life, ask yourself this single question. What is the worst thing that can happen? Seriously? What? That's the big thing that you've been building up to. Yeah. Dude, I took work off for this shit. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I wasted my goddamn time. Well, listen, I know it sounds like a really simple question, but it's actually a really profound one that not nearly enough of us ask ourselves. When I thought about quitting my job, my brain came up with the typical set of objections. You know, the usual ones like, you're going to be broke. Other people are going to think you're stupid. You can't just throw everything that you've worked for away. Now, it's easy to take those fears at face value. In fact, that is actually when they are scariest. But if you think about each of those fears and ask yourself Tim's question, what is the worst thing that can happen? And then you think about actionable steps that you can actually take to combat each of those scenarios, it totally diminishes the power of those fears. In my specific scenario, I had recently moved back in with my parents, so the fear of not having enough money or going broke, well, that was completely invalid. But I know that that isn't the case for everyone. I know that people have rent to pay and bills to pay. But the truth is that even if you quit your job, you can likely find a way to pay the bills. Maybe you have to pick up a bartending gig.
Boys are out tonight, huh?
Or you have to do landscaping. Maybe I could even cut back on some of the expenses I have in my life and the luxuries that I don't need, because at the end of the day, those aren't even the things that actually make me happy. Yeah, sure, it might not be glamorous, but I would survive, right? And yeah, things aren't going to immediately turn in your favor. You're not going to have your dream life the minute that you decide to quit your job. But when you do quit your job and you leave behind the energy that you were wasting, dreading your job every minute of the work week, well, maybe you're finally giving your brain the time and the space that it needs to actually figure out what it is that you want to do. I was also incredibly worried that other people would judge me for the decision that I made. They'd call me crazy, they'd call me stupid. I would have to find a way to justify my decision to every single person that I ever knew. But what I quickly realized is that the people who are closest to me, that I care about the most, my immediate family, my best friends, those people didn't judge me for my decision. A lot of them were actually really happy that I made the jump. I knew that I had their support. The people that I was worried about, funny enough, were the people that I saw once every couple of months at a party, or the relatives that I saw once a year at a wedding. As crazy as it might sound, those were the people that I was most concerned judging me. I was letting people that I saw for legitimately less than 0.1% of my waking existence dictate how I felt almost every single waking hour of my day. And when I realized that I cared more about what other people thought of me than how I actually felt, well, that fear quickly became unimportant. And for those of you thinking that you would be throwing it all away, maybe you have a really prestigious job or worked really hard to get where you are and you're worried that you're never going to find another job again.
I can't believe we drove around all day and there's not a single job in this town. There is nothing, nada, zip.
Yeah, unless you want to work 40 hours a week.
It's valid. I hear you. And listen, I'm not here to tell you to quit your job tomorrow morning.
Do it.
But there is another part of this fear setting exercise that I do really want you to consider right now. But I'll let Tim take this one away.
Page 3. This might be the most important, so don't skip it. The cost of inaction. Humans are very good at considering what might go wrong if we try something new, say, ask for a raise. What we don't often consider is the atrocious cost of the status quo, not changing anything.
Yes, quitting your job, making that big decision, whatever it might be, is no small feat. You're giving up that promotion, you're giving up the security. But if you really are dissatisfied with your life, if you dread every single minute of your work week, imagine the feeling of bad week after bad week after bad week compounding on top of each other for years on end. There's a great quote from Jerzy Gregorek that goes, "Easy choices, hard life. Hard choices, easy life." And as I reflect back on those miserable days at work, in the moment, it felt like staying at that job was the hard thing to do, that going to that next meeting was the hard decision. But the truth is that that was the easy thing to do. The hard thing to do was to actually do something about my misery. And when that hard decision was finally made to quit my job, well, life suddenly got a lot easier. I vividly remember the feeling of that Friday afternoon when I decided that I was going to quit my job on Monday. I remember shutting my laptop, realizing that was the last time I was going to be on it before I quit my job. I was free. A 5,000-pound gorilla was lifted off of my chest. Life was good. The future was hopeful. And I was actually really proud of myself for the first time in a long time, because what I did that day was really, really hard. And I proved to myself in that moment that I never had to feel stuck doing anything that I didn't want to feel stuck in. And for the first time in a really long time, I felt happy. Now listen, I'm not telling you to quit your job or drop out of school or make any rash decisions without thinking it over. But you shouldn't underthink it either. What I am telling you to do is to examine your fears and do not take them at face value, because that is when they're scariest and that is when you are most likely to lose that battle. You have to make it past those initial objections that your brain is going to throw at you to figure out what it is that you're actually afraid of. And once you do, you'll realize they're not actually that scary after all. The truly scary part is not doing anything about them in the first place.